All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to start building a nightstand. Now, this is what you guys would be making were you here. And when you do get back, this is what you'll be doing, okay? Or something very similar to it. All right, got somebody else coming in late here. So, first thing I want to do is I want to show you some examples of what students have done with nightstands in the past. And these are all viewable on my website, and it's really easy to get to. So let's take a look at the screen share here. And yeah, I've heard that before, Navia. That's not cool. Usually what I'm able to do is in the first day when I take roll, I go through everybody's name and I try and pronounce it right. And if I get it, and I let you guys know if I get it wrong, tell me, or if you want to be called something else, tell me. So we haven't had that opportunity because I don't have you guys here. And that's too bad because I wish you guys were here. So, all right, so here we go. Let's take a look at some of the work that's been done in the past. And if I can find it without, it's got to be this one right here. Okay, so because of this funky, the way this screen's set up, maybe I can, okay, that's good. All right, so this is my website, gphsmanufacturing.org. And this is the blog portion of it. Over here, your choices: woodworking, home, blah, 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 CNC, CO2, laser, blah, 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 okay? Any project you see on this site is student built, okay? Everything on here is student built, although there is a section in the guitar fab area and in the blog that has some teachers from around the area when they took a class over the summer with me to build guitars. So this is an example of a single drawer nightstand. The stuff that you see on top, the Giants logo, was done on our laser. A lot of students have done laser work on the top or on the drawer fronts and things like that. So there should be a drawer right here, but they don't have it done yet. There's just nightstands everywhere. When you guys are actually here working, there's generally about anywhere from 75 to 90 nightstands in various stages of construction in here. It's kind of crazy. And then throw all the intermediate and advanced projects on top of that, and it gets pretty full. Here's another one. A little duck, little Oregon duck on there. Also done on a laser. I believe this is pine. This was pretty interesting tree. The kind of orangish color you see on here is just smoke from the laser. It can come off with some vinegar on a rag and just wipe it off, and it comes off no problem. Or you can sand it after it dries. Somebody else came in. There he is. Okay. So there's another one. Had a brother in the Marines, I believe. And here's just a basic organ map. So I guess you'd call that a Freedom Eagle. I'm not sure what you call that. Freedom Eagle sounds good to me. What's that? This was done on the CNC. It's upside down. Noveski did this one. And the CNC, instead of just burning something in the surface, it routes a groove all the way in here. And the cool thing about that is what you can do is once it's routed in there, you can just start brushing paint into these letters. You can make a mess. It doesn't matter. You can get it all over the place. But once the paint dries, then you sand it, and the paint stays in the recessed areas, and it looks really nice. So that's another thing that can be done. This was done on a laser. This wasn't. This was actually a student repaired a teak boat table. It's some kind of dining table on their boat or something like that. It was made out of teak, and he repaired it. And what we did was we routed out these channels here around the outer edge and filled it with glow-in-the-dark epoxy. So at night, you can kind of see with the lights. This is just after we poured it to see how well it did, and then we cleaned it up. But it's glow-in-the-dark epoxy, so it's kind of neat. Here's obviously a Red Bull fan or GoPro fan. For some weird reason, this is one of my favorites. I just think this truck turned out really nice on the laser. Just turned out really good on here. I thought it was really neat. For some reason, I like that one a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's the shading and the shadows. I'm not sure. Pineapple. There you go. There's a Aloha pineapple. This was, I can't remember who did this, but this is a portion of Africa. Kind of neat. This one they did the Blue Jays logo on the top, and then they did their last name on the drawer front. And we always paint the inside here and the side panels. And a lot of students will go outside with a brush and some paint on it and just kind of splatter paint. You know, there's been a lot of different things done with the paint portion of it. Where am I? There's, okay, motorcycle. Okay, I've seen that on shirts and hats and stuff all over the place, the little Oregon Roots thing. Golden State Warrior fan, obviously. Too bad. Sorry about that. Painful. There's another duck. I think it might be the same one. Okay. This was interesting. This is one of the first ones we done in the laser. This is actually a nightstand top. It's about 16.5 inches this way and about 13 and change this way. And it was just a world map that was done on the laser. It turned out pretty neat. This is just a tree in the top. That tree is probably about 12 inches tall in the top of a maple nightstand. Another duck fan. Go Ducks. This was actually a student's own artwork that they did in pen, I think it was. And then we scanned it and transferred it and got it done on the laser. So that was actually kind of neat. This is us lasering on a rock, a river rock. That's kind of after it got done. That's really close up, but another tree, bunch of little things there. This is, I'm not sure, that's a dream catcher type thing. So this is one where the student bought their own knob for the drawer front like that. Dominique did this one. I guess it's his own little design. This is an example of the CNC, what it can do. This is a coffee table top. And this is a full-blown Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers court. We actually pulled an image off the internet and converted it. And this is an exact replica of the court. And what you're seeing here in all this wetness looking stuff was we sealed these areas before we painted in here. And we did the right colors, purple and yellow and stuff like that. But we didn't want the paint running into the surrounding woods. So we sealed it first. Then we painted everything what it was supposed to be. The center court logo, everything, and then sanded it, and so it just looks like a perfect replica of the Lakers basketball court on there. I thought it was kind of neat. This is just an example of some other stuff done in the laser. These are actually earrings that are about an inch and a half long that a girl did. So they're actually pretty small, but you can see the level of detail that you can get on this thing. And I think that's probably, we can also do leather. This was a Tree of Life that was done on leather, lasered on leather on a rocking chair. And then some trees on the armrests. There's more of the rocking chair. And that's about it, okay? So that's kind of some examples of stuff that's been done. And there's actually, let me show you one more thing. This is one of kind of our pride and joy of projects that have come out of here, because it took first place in the county fair, the state fair. It just won over and over and over again. The main portion of this project was done on the CNC. This is what's called a Sam Maloof rocking chair, and the Sam Maloof part is the guy that designed it. But a lot of the parts were cut on the CNC, but it took the student a full year to do this. And it's out of walnut, but because there's a lot of hand work and hand shaping that went into it and stuff like that. It's just an absolutely gorgeous rocking chair out of walnut. I would hazard to guess that this thing's value is probably in the neighborhood of anywhere, depending on who's paying for it, anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 when it was all said and done. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. One of the nicest pieces I've seen come out of here. But this is some of the stuff that was done on the CNC, different parts, the armrests, the back legs, things like that. And then I think there might actually be a video of the CNC doing it. Let's take a look. I don't know why that music is so weird. But so this is our CNC drilling some holes for alignment pegs and things like that. We did the entire rocking chair out of pine first to make sure the files were good and there weren't any errors in the files. And then after each piece was done in pine, we did it out of walnut. So I think we still have some of the parts sitting here out of pine, but that's kind of boring watching it drill holes. What else is it doing? Still drilling holes. Okay, now it's doing the seat pan. So you can see the front shape of the seat, these back mortises where the back seat slats will go. And it's actually going to put all the shape in the seat, everything. So yeah, kind of neat. Okay, so that's enough of that. All right, so let's get started on the nightstand. Okay, we're just about on the right point. So the first thing I want to show you guys is probably the most important part of making one of these nightstands. If that little thing would go away, it's the plans. Okay, so everybody gets a set of plans that's making one of these, and the plan basically consists of three separate things. One would be the text, the description of the steps you would take and the order in which you would take them to build this, things to look for, things to check along the way, how to do certain things, stuff like that. So this is the written instructions portion of it, and obviously there's some bold, highlighted, underlined areas that you really need to pay attention to. But in here, you'll also see it referring to part numbers. You'll see it referring to part names, things like that. And then you come down here, and every set of plans must have a cut list. Okay? And a cut list is basically a list of all the individual pieces and parts that it takes to make a particular project. And for example, this cut list has the part number here that's referred to in the text up there and down in some of the drawings. It'll have a description of each part, the side panel, back, top, rails, trims, things like that. We're going to do the two side panels today, okay? The number of pieces, obviously 2 side panels. The material that it's to be made out of, the side panels, the back, and the shelf partition for this project are going to be made out of sheet goods, in particular particle board, 3/4 inch thick particle board and 5/8 inch thick particle board, okay? And then down here is the solid stock, like the pine, the poplar, the oak, stuff like that, okay? And the individual sizes of each and every part. Now, this is a very, very, very important area. You'll notice that this T right here, this is the thickness, the W means it's the width, and the L means it's the length of each part. Now, oddly enough, the order in which these things are placed, thickness, then width, then length, will be the same in every set of plans you ever see in here. And the reason for that is that is our actual order of operations in the shop. We always do the thickness first, then we do the width, then we do the length, in that order. There's a very particular way in which we move from machine to machine in this shop, and it's always thickness, then width, then length. So our cut lists, our plans will always list them in that same order, so it helps to remember it. Any abbreviations will be addressed down here. Any other notes will be addressed right here. And then we get into the drawings. You have to have drawings, okay? So here's what we're going to do today. This is a drawing of a piece of 3/4 inch thick particle board that's approximately 27 inches long and just right around 24 inches wide. We'll get both of our sides out of this one piece. Now, one of the things we always do as well is we always draw any and all joinery details on our material, and that's what we're going to start with. So basically what it's saying is you're going to create some dados and rabbets that are 5/8 of an inch wide and 1/4 inch deep. Now this will help you understand what a dado and rabbet is when you see this done, okay? But this is a dado right here along here, another dado right here for the bottom shelf, this rabbet right here, and this rabbet right here. You'll see how that works. That's going to accept the back, okay? There's some other drawings here. This is some details about joinery details for attaching solid stock to the front, the top, and the sides of the nightstand. These represent pocket holes. These little plus signs represent countersink holes, things like that. And then the solid stock face frame detail and the side trim detail, okay? So we're going to start right here, all right? So let's get back to this and pin the video. All right. So this is what you guys should be seeing, okay? You should be able to see the table. If you can't see the table, say something, but I'm pretty sure you should be able to, okay? So we're going to start with this right here. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see it. Oh, actually, I don't want to go that far. All right, so we're going to get started, okay? So here's our piece of material that we're going to get our two sides out of, okay? It's a piece of 3/4 inch thick particle board that is 27 inches long, okay? And this one in particular is just a hair under 24 inches wide, okay? So one of the things we always want to make sure is that the material we're starting with is square. And what we mean by everything's 90 degrees. So you can take an actual 90-degree square and check it that way at every corner. But the larger a piece gets, the more difficult it is to get an accurate check on square, okay? So the easiest way to do larger pieces is to measure the diagonals. In other words, if we measure from this corner to this corner, it's about 36 1/16. And we measure from this corner to this corner, 36 1/16. As long as those two dimensions are the same, it's square. We've got 90-degree corners everywhere, okay? So we're going to start with this drawing right here. Oops, I'm looking, trying to figure out where the camera is. And we're going to draw these two dados on here first, okay? So according to those plans right there, the first dado, the top of it is 8 inches from the top of the nightstand. We're just going to go ahead and write top, top, because both of our sides will come out of this. Now, the plans also tell us that each dado is 5/8 of an inch wide. So we're going to go ahead and make another mark, 5/8 of an inch past that first mark, okay? Now the plans tell us that the top of the second dado is 15 1/4 inches from the bottom of the first dado. So we're going to put our 10-inch mark right here at the bottom of the first dado. We're going to come down 15 1/4 inches. So we're going to come down to 25 1/4. Make our mark. Make another mark. 5/8 of an inch past that. That's our second dado. Okay. We're going to take a sheetrock square, drywall square. We're just going to set it right on our first mark. Draw the top of the dado. Bottom of the dado. We'll do the same thing down here for the second one, for the lower dado. There's the top of it. There's the bottom of it, okay? So, we have our two dados drawn. Hopefully you can see that, okay? Now what we need is we need a 5-inch wide rabbet drawn right here along this edge, and another one drawn right here along this edge. And for that, we're going to use what's called a sliding square, okay? Now these get a lot of use here. They're very, very useful here. Basically, it's got a little knurled knob right there that you can loosen. It allows this steel rule to slide in here. So all we have to do is set this to 5/8 of an inch. So in other words, the 5/8 inch mark on the rule, okay, is even with this flat surface, which means that the end of this steel rule is 5/8 of an inch from this surface, okay? You with me so far? All right, so here's all we have to do. We're going to take and set this flat surface up against the edge of the board, drag our pencil along with it. We're just going to mark a 5/8 wide rabbet on that side, and we're going to mark a 5/8 wide rabbet on this side. Okay, so there we go. There's our two rabbets, okay? There's our two dados. There's one dado, there's the other one, all right? So let's cut some rabbets and dados. We're going to move this over. One. Come on. There we go. It's going. All right. So this is our panel router. Okay. The panel router is a machine that allows us to create dados and rabbits in large pieces of material. In other words, we could fit a whole sheet of plywood in here, 4 foot wide, 8 foot long, without any problem, okay? So basically all it is it's a router motor mounted in a carriage, okay? I can adjust the depth of the router bit right here, okay? Moves just like that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna set up, cut the rabbits first. We're gonna take this little piece of wood, and we're gonna set our own little temporary stop, okay? So I'm gonna bring this over and pull the router out a little bit. And we happen to have a 5/8 inch diameter bit in this router. So if I place the cutting edge of this bit at the edge of the board, and since it's a 5/8 inch diameter bit, we should get a 5/8 inch wide rabbit, okay? So we're gonna clamp that down. That's a little temporary stop for us. So now all we have to do, we just have to slide our board right up to that little stop. We take 2 clamps. We always, always, always have to use 2 clamps on this and hold it tight. If we just put 1 clamp on it, that just gives the board a place to pivot. It has happened before. Okay, we're going to double check it. See what we got. Okay. We're ready to do our cut. Turn it on. There's 1 rabbit. All we have to do, take it, flip it over, put the opposite edge up against the board, put 1 clamp and a 2nd clamp. I'm guessing you guys can see this. Let me look at the screen and make sure. Yep, looks like it. Okay, run this one. All right, so that's our rabbits. We can get rid of this now. Now, our dados. This is super easy with the dados. Sawdust down my shirt. We're going to take this guy. We're going to lay it on its side. We have stops built into this that we can move to whatever position we want. We're going to drop that first one. We're going to drop the second one. Slide it up the first stop with the top that way. A couple clamps. Just like that. Ready to go. Unclamp it. Flip that first stop out of the way. Slide it up to the second one. Clamp it back down. And I'm going to change this camera a little bit so maybe you can see it. All right, get a little closer look at it, doing its thing. Turn it on. And our dados and rabbits are done. Okay, there we go. Zoom out a little bit so you can see it. Okay, there's our two dados. Dado has a bottom and two sides, right? Bottom, two sides. Here's our two rabbits. Rabbit, rabbit. Rabbits just have a bottom and one side, okay? So next what we need to do is rip this into two pieces, 11 3/4 wide. That's how wide your sides are gonna be, okay? So we're gonna go to the table saw, but that's gonna make me have to move the camera. So you're gonna lose the camera feed for just a second here while I get it moved over here. There's no way to really rotate the camera and get it where we want. So I'm just gonna pick it up and carry it. All right, so you're gonna lose my camera for a second. And here we go. Doesn't take too much. I'm getting better at this all the time. I have to move it constantly, so. All right, we'll get this over. There we go. Come on. All right. Power. And move the camera. And we'll get her plugged in. All right. Let her power up. Takes it just a second to rotate around and do its thing. Looks like it has hairs on it. What looks like it has hairs on it? Difference between dados and rabbits. Like I said, the dado has a bottom and two sides. A rabbit just has a bottom and a single side. So, in fact, let me show you. This is a completed side. As soon as that camera comes back on. Come on. So, these are dados, right? This is a rabbit. Okay, rabbit's just got a base and a single side. Dado's got a base and two sides. So your material's supported on both sides in a dado, only supported one side on a rabbit, okay? So that's what we're trying to accomplish there. All right, next thing we're gonna do is rip this into two. So what? Go ahead.
Can you bring the rabbit thing closer to the camera?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's probably really hard, especially on this material, to see. So hopefully you can see that. Rabbit, dado, okay? So this is what would accept the back of a cabinet. The dado is what accepts a shelf on the cabinet. You'll see that when we get ready to assemble it. That'll help, okay? But you can kind of see it this way too, maybe. See the rabbit at the back? If I get my, I almost said something I shouldn't say in a classroom. Okay, you can just kind of see the rabbit here on this edge. And then you can see the dados here, okay? So that's another way of looking at them. Hopefully that helps a little bit. It's just one of those memorization things. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and let me make sure this camera's where we want it. Oh, it's all the way over there. Hold on one second, folks. All right, so we'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. Come on. upload that? Come on, you silly thing. All right. So what we need to do is we're going to rip this material into two pieces that are 11 3/4 inches wide. Okay? Anytime a person steps up to the table saw, it's a requirement that they have a set of plans sitting right here so they can double check their fence setting against what's being called for in the width column, because this is where we rip to final accurate width. In other words, we're going to rip to the final width that it says in the cut list. Okay? So this says 11 3/4 wide. So we're going to set this to 11 3/4. What I do is I get it close to where I want, and I can just tap it to exactly where I want. I'm looking down at a little sight glass here that's got a red line in it, and then there's a tape measure embedded in here. And this is really accurate. As long as I put that red line over the exact measurement I want on that tape, we're good. Okay? So one of the rules on the table saw is the long edge always goes against the fence. In other words, we can do this, okay, but we cannot do this. That'd be putting the short edge against the fence. Okay, that puts us in a possible kickback situation because your board wants to do this. Okay, so we always put the long edge against the fence. Okay, so we've got this set to 11 3/4. Everything looks good. Our blade height's about 1/4 inch above the material. We're going to start it. We're going to put the long edge against the fence. There's one side. We've got to do the same thing to this side because right now it's a little more than 11 3/4. This is about 12 inches wide. So we need to trim this one to the exact same size that that one is. Okay? So we're going to take and spin it around and put this rabbit against the fence, the long edge against the fence. I don't want to do it like this. This is how it came off the blade. If I just do this, I'm cutting my rabbit off. Okay? So I'm going to put the rabbit against the fence, do the same thing. Just like that, and done. We wait till the blade comes to a complete stop before we try and get that little piece of scrap out of there. And there we go. So now we have two sides, okay? That is our two sides of our soon-to-be nightstand. All right, so let's take a look. So here's what we'll have. I'm going to back this up a little bit. Seriously? All right, so here's what we've got. These will be the two sides of our nightstand. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Let me try and turn this so you can see it. Okay, there will be a shelf right here in this upper dado. There will be a shelf here in this lower dado. And then the back of the nightstand will fit in between those rabbits. Okay, the rabbits, all the dados and rabbits are 1/4 inch deep. Okay, somebody asked that. It actually says that on the plans, how deep they're supposed to be. And for the most part, the way, if you were designing something, usually, not always, but very often, a dado or a rabbit is about 1/3, the depth of it is about 1/3 of the thickness of the materials. In other words, if I had something that was 3/4 of an inch thick, generally, I'd put a 1/4 inch deep rabbit or dado. If I had something that was 3 inches thick, I'd put a 1 inch deep rabbit or dado. So generally about 1/3 the thickness of a board, of the board you're working with, okay? So we've got a little time left real quick. So I'm actually doing this same thing. You guys might as well be able to see me. Everybody should be able to see me at some point in time during their day. It makes their day better. We're doing the same type of thing in intermediate and advanced woods. The students in first period and intermediate woods chose a project to have me build. The same thing happened in second period advanced woods. So I'll show you what they're making me build. Okay, and right now we're at what's called the dry fit stage. In other words, we never just cut a bunch of pieces up and then put a bunch of glue on it and put it together. We always dry fit things first to make sure they're going to work. So this first item right here is, and I'll show you a picture of the plans. Okay, let me pull it up. I'm going to share real quick. And I'm going to pull up the plans. Come on. And this is issue 187. This is where we get all our plans. So this project, I'll show you here. So this is what the advanced students voted on to have me build. And we'll go through the whole process. This is basically a timbre tool cabinet. This little guy right here is a handle, and this whole front pulls down. It's like a roll top desk. It's got these timbres in here. So this is in the closed position, right? And then this is the open position, right? And then it holds some nice tools in there and stuff like that. Then there's a few drawers here, a couple drawers here, okay? So that is this, all right? So we have it dry fit right now. We've got the shelves done with the dados. These are dados here that are going to accept the little dividers for the drawers. There's two drawers at the bottom, so there's a single divider there. Then I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's zoom in a little bit. But this groove right here is what that timbre or that roll top thing slides in. It's fed in from the back here. And then there's a false back right here that hides the timbre when you look in the front of the cabinet. So that's what third period is. Yeah, we're going to hang these in the shop. That's what third period is having me make. Second period is having me make, I think this, let me see what issue it is. It is issue 241. Second period is doing a drill press cabinet where we keep all the drill bits and stuff like that over by the drill presses. So it's this issue right here, and it is page, I want to say 21, 22. So this is what second period is having me make. A couple of large, deep doors here. There's magnets along these areas, so you can just stick tools to and stuff like that. It's got some drawers underneath. This is all plywood in this project. The other one is all solid oak. So this is what they're having me do. And here that is. I'm going to back out a little bit and rotate a little more to the left. So this is the cabinet. This is the upper cabinet portion of it. So this is dry fit together too. These are adjustable shelves. These are the tops and the sides of the big doors that are going to be going on there. We'll do the bottom half of the cabinet afterwards. This thing will end up being 12 inches deep by the time it's done, because this is 6 inches wide and the doors are 6 inches wide. So it'll come out to about right here. So that's what they're having me do. So you're all hopefully, I really, really do hope that you guys enjoy this more than just sitting in the office and throwing some random YouTube video at you. Besides, you're learning a little bit. You'll get to see what some of the machines do, how they do it, why they do it, things like that. Okay? So there's one last thing I need you guys to do before you leave today. You've got plenty of time to do it. We're going to go back to the share screen. And on the website, I want you to go to modules. And then this week 3 here, scroll down. And there's a nightstand quiz right here. It's going to ask you 3 simple questions about what we just did, like what was the first machine we used, the panel router. You know, what edge do we put against the fence in the table saw, the long edge. And for life of me, I can't remember what the other question was. But all you have to do is take this quiz, and you can go ahead and log off when you're done with it. It's Thursday, which means tomorrow is Friday, which is a good day. I really, really appreciate you guys being here today. I look forward to having you here tomorrow. And we'll get started on this nightstand and get going through it. So take your quiz. As soon as you're done with your quiz, you can log off. Have a nice day. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow. Yeah, I know, Kevin. I want you guys to be in the shop too. I really, really do. This is Coconuts being in here. There's nobody here. It's quiet. It's nuts. It's not the way it's supposed to be. We will get you in here, okay? It's going to be a little while, but we'll get you in here, all right? And you guys will be better for having gone through this because of it. So, okay? Well, Deegan, if your dad wants to build this nightstand, let me know and I'll make sure you get a set of plans, okay? And if you guys have questions about it, you can ask too. So, all right? So there you go, folks. Do your quiz. Have a nice day.